Braxcast time once again. This is the 23rd episode of the Braxcast, and we've got a good bit of stuff to talk about. The Gooding pre-order is ending. It's going to be fulfilling at the beginning of this week, June 29th, or July 29th, the last Monday of July. That's when fulfillment is set to begin. It seems like that's where it's going to be. So we're going to get Gooding really soon. I'm going to dive into it. Of course, I am going to review it, and this first pre-order collection has been a pretty big success. $250,000 total sales, nearing $10,000 books sold. I think they're a little bit over 9,000 as the time of recording this, or 8,500. I don't know the exact number, but anyway, very successful. I'm sure this book is going to be great. Mike Barron is a great writer. Will Conrad's done great art. Dokimon cards, cover B of the IR #1, all look fantastic, and he's doing the line work for Gooding. And the fans are very excited for this book, as am I. And before we get into anything else, I just wanted to reiterate that this concept art book, I am giving it away. The details to join the giveaway are in the description. So if you're interested in maybe winning this, please check out that giveaway link, enter. And if I have people who enter and want this book, I will announce the winner of the giveaway on the 24th episode of the Braxcast. So you have until the end of this month to get your submissions in. And then whoever has the best submission, I will pick as the winner of this book. So be sure to check out that information. But we're going to go into, I'd say, the biggest announcement of this week. That's, of course, related to the Rippaverse is the Isom short box. So there was a Rippaverse short box that was released a couple months ago. I got two of them. They're really nice. This seems to be basically the same design, just different artwork, more focused around Isom. You've got the Isom logo on the top. The Rippaverse Comics box has Isom and the Alpha Core, Michael Copperly, and Renanashi. All done by Canon White. This artwork for the short box is also done by Canon White, so it's going to look fantastic. It's a pretty durable box. It's not glued together. You get it shipped flat to you, and then you assemble it there. And like I said, I've got two, and they've been holding up pretty well assembled. So I'm really excited to get this. This is $40, so it's a bit pricey for a short box. There are cheaper short boxes, but if you are a fan of the Rippaverse and you like Isom, then I think this is going to be a great one. And as for the quality of the Rippaverse short boxes, which I'm sure this is basically just the same thing, just with a different design. It's high quality. It's really nice to have, and it's great to hold your books if you are a collector of not just Rippaverse comic books, but comic books in general. But with that, we've got some more stuff that I want to get into. So there's two questions of the day that we're going to get into, and the first question of the day being, which two indie and which two mainstream creators would you like to see creating Rippaverse comics? Now, for independent creators, I would say you've got Dave Brink of Genuine Comics and Pal Rodricks from Genuine Comics. They do really good stuff, over there. So I could talk about a bunch of indie creators. But with indie creators, for me, is that I like the indie creators because they're doing their own thing. So having them, do Rippaverse books, even though like someone like Pal Rodricks is a great artist, someone like Dillard is a great artist. That's another choice of someone who would love to do line work. He made a submission to the Isom #1 fan art contest, and he did great work for that. He's doing he's the artist for Yellow Flash's upcoming book, which we don't really know anything about. But he's a really talented artist, Dillard. So I would love to have like interior art for him done by the Rippaverse, even if he just does a cover. But I think Dave Brink, Genuine Comics, and Pal Rodricks, who's the artist for Perfect 10. They both do great work. If they did a Rippaverse book, I would not be opposed to that at all. But for the mainstream, like I really have, I'm a comic book newbie, so I never really got into the mainstream. I got, into reading Invincible, which is, really great. And I do like Image Comics. I read some of the Walking Dead, like, before I got into comics in 22. Like I said, read all of Invincible. So I love, I want to say love Image, but like I like Kirkman as a writer. So if Robert Kirkman wrote some Rippaverse comics, that would be a pretty interesting thing for me to see personally. Would he want to do that? And then in terms of someone for art, he worked with Ryan Ottley for most of Invincible in terms of him being the artist. So Ryan Ottley did a lot of really good art for Invincible, so it'd be nice to see him do some line work, some pencil and inks for Rippaverse. That'd be really cool. And Ryan Ottley also did Amazing Spider-Man. I think there was a reboot in like around 18. I have one trade from that, and I read that. I remember it looking really nice. So Ryan Ottley is a great artist. So like I said, Kirkman and Otley for the mainstream, and then I would choose probably like Al Rodricks, Dillard, Dave Frank. But like I said with indies, is that with the independent circuit for anything, it's that you're doing it on your own, you're going on your own thing, being like the single lone wolf underdog type kind of it's a bit of the appeal of the indie for a lot of people. So snatching up like every single indie creator to have them work for the Rippaverse or Marvel and DC, it kind of lessens, it kind of cheapens like what it means to be an independent creator. Not that you can do it. You could have your own book, and you could have be working for other people. Gabe's done that. He's has Big Man Comics, does a bunch of is doing a bunch of comic books like Tyrus and Dean Cain, All American Lawman. He did Truth, Justice, the American Way, and he was and he's the colorist for Isom. So you can definitely do both those things. So you can be like an independent and work for companies as well, and those can meld together. But it's not something that I'm going to say is that like every single independent is going to have to work for a company, or if they do, it kind of like it makes their I guess persona a little bit less charming from the perspective of being an indie. So that's one thing. But again, it's an interesting question. I'm sure there's so many people who you would like to see independent and mainstream start working for Reverse Comics. Of course, as the fans respond to each book positively, and this keeps growing, and there's more investment capital that they have, they're going to be putting that into making more books, which means there's more job opportunities for these creators, and us the fans get more pages to sink our teeth into, and that's really what I love about the Rippaverse, or comics in general. It's just that it's a collaborative medium. So as more people get together, they can make more books, and as more books become available, more people buy them, and then you have the ability to make even more books. So it's a really nice positive feedback loop. But I think I've talked all I can about that. We're going into question of the day number 2, the last one for this Braxcast. Santuan versus Shadron, who wins? So yesterday, Friday, I was on John Longbox's channel, and we had a very spirited and a very friendly debate. It was really nice, like 2 hours long, about Isom versus Cyberfrog. Of course, we talked about a whole bunch of stuff other than that, but that was the main topic. That was it's clobbering time. Two characters from comics who would win, and it was a very I'd say there isn't too much on Cyberfrog and Isom, because we were talking about the night. But anyway, not a lot for Isom, not the most for Cyberfrog. So it was a bit inconclusive, but it was a very fun discussion to have. And of course, Santuan versus Shadron, this being a question of the day. Me knowing both of these characters, I'm going to give you my take on this. So one of the things I noticed when I was researching this just now is that Shadron doesn't have a character page on the Rippaverse website. Gross overlook. You need to get that right away. You need to get Shadron's character page, because he's a really cool character. Of course, we've only seen him in Isom number 2 very briefly, and before not to bury the lead or anything, or any more than I already have. I would say Shadron would be the clear winner of this fight, because Shadron is 6'7" or 8'5" and 600 pounds, while Santuan is 6'7" and 500 pounds, roundabout. So Shadron is physically bigger, and not only is he, I'd say, going to be more physically capable than Santuan is, he's also going to have less of an ego. So the thing with Santuan is that he has this massive ego, and that's what influences him to do the things that he does. And of course, he has this desire for money, since he's a mercenary. Right? So I think the thing, that's basically the big thing. Santuan will go into any fight thinking he can win it. He's got the best. He's the best guy. He's always going to win everything. And he goes into that with I can find the fight with Shadron. So let's see, or not Shadron, the fight with Santwan. So we've got you see this fight with Santwan and Isom. Chucks him out really quickly. He's able to adapt and beat him. Now, here's the thing. Santwan and Isom had fought beforehand, before the event of Isom #1, and Santwan was able to beat Isom then. So, the fact that, the fact that Shadron was able to beat Isom isn't inherently indicative that Shadron would win, because Shadron and Santwan were both stronger than Isom in that moment. And, Santwan, assuming, we don't know the circumstances of that first fight between them, or that fight that was before Isom #1, but we can assume, or we have probably a pretty good inference that it was a much less stressful and distracting situation, the Santwan and Isom fight, than that that Shadron and Isom fight that we see in Isom #2, where, of course, that teenage girl dies, and that's what gets him to hang up his quote-unquote cape, stop being a superhero, go live in the Shadow Valley Ranch life, right? So that's the big thing there. But like I said, I think this is entirely going to be a physical fight, Santwan versus Shadron, because Santwan's, his big brute force is how he has his claim to fame to being an X, right? That's how he fights with Isom. He just punches him, literally chucks him out of Club Merc. He's a very physical character, and the fact that he's physically smaller than Shadron by like 10 inches and 100 pounds means that Shadron's got the physical advantage, and he also has the more ego advantage, because Shadron is just this ruthless killer. He's just like, whatever he wants dead is going to be dead, and that's his focus, and he's not going to go putting his ego into it. Santwan thinks that he can win any fight he's in, and he thinks that he's one of God's chosen creatures. He's superior to everybody, so he has a massive ego, and I think that would jade him. And also, Santwan's got Shadron. I keep mixing it up. I apologize. Shadron has impenetrable hair. We know that from his Dokuman card. So I think Shadron is the more physically durable and physically stronger character. So it's going to be a really easy win for Santwan or Shadron. And it's going to be an easy loss for Santwan. I kept mixing those up. I am so sorry, guys. But hopefully you got the gist of what I'm saying. Shadron, I would say, is a very clear winner in this fight. But that's really my take. We haven't seen too much of these characters. We've only seen Shadron in one flashback. Santwan's meaningfully appeared in one issue in terms of his fighting power. In Isom #2, he basically quits being Darren's mercenary, because he got his ego very sorely bruised by Isom at the end of Isom #1, so he just doesn't want to be with Darren anymore, so he just goes off. But he doesn't have any fight scenes like Isom like he does in Isom #1, so we really only have like 2 fight scenes for Santwan and 1 for Shadron to really gauge what their strength is. So I'm just going up based off of their physical stats, and I'm going based off of the fact that I know that Santwan has his massive ego, and I think that would get in his way, where Shadron is just this ruthless killer type. So that is my justification for that. Hopefully you could follow all of that, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Braxcast. Definitely a much shorter one than last week, where I reviewed this concept art book, which again I am giving away. I want to talk about it at the beginning, talk about it at the end, because nobody has put in their submission a 100 to 1,000 word statement on why you are a fan of the Rippaverse. Email to me. The directions are in the link below. But you will give me that statement through email. Whoever gives me the best statement will get the book. I will ask for your shipping address. I will ship it to you. And then I will announce the winner on the next episode of the Braxcast, the 24th one. So hopefully anybody who's interested and wants the book gets in where they fits in, and then tells me. But if not, hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Braxcast. Joker is out. Thank you for tuning in to the Braxcast. Be sure to like, comment, follow, and subscribe to keep up with the Rippaverse.